Hi, this is Astrology with Jo, and welcome to an Earth Magic video today on the pagan cross-quarter day of Imbolc, taken from my latest Leo season forecast video. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you like my astrological southern hemispheric take on this invigorating, exciting seasonal celebration. So if you'd like to learn more about the current astrology and how it could be playing out in your life, don't forget to subscribe or join any of my platforms, Patreon or Substack, so that you can stay tuned in to the upcoming changes and lessons the zodiac and the planets are always offering. I also have a YouTube and an Instagram as well. We have an interesting Imbolc this year. So this is the cross-quarter festival, and I use astrological Imbolc, which is when the sun gets to the exact point, the exact degree, which marks the exact midpoint between the winter Cancer Solstice and the spring Libra Equinox in our southern hemisphere. So this is an old Gaelic festival. It has been co-opted as St. Bridget's Day, Michaelmas and Candlemas by various religious institutions, which occur at the end of September, beginning of August. And in the northern hemisphere, this is actually Lunasa or Lammas, known as the Christian Loafmas Day, where in the northern hemisphere, the sun is starting to move away from the earth. Here, the sun is getting closer. So for me, it makes sense that the fire sign of sunny, warm Leo, ruled by the sun, is the herald of the return of the sun. The warmer times, the longer days, the brighter light, where vitality is stirring, waiting to be expressed, where life and nature is ready to begin the life cycle anew with the appearance of bulbs, bees in some places, fruits, and flowers. So fire too is a cleanser, a purifier. Imbolc is also a time of sweeping out the old to welcome in the new. It's a great time to do a good spring clean, to clear the fluff and renew the energy. By the way, astrological Imbolc is occurring on the 7th of August at 3:51 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, although some, and if not most people, prefer to celebrate it on the 1st to the 2nd of August, but myself and as astrologer, for obvious reasons, prefer to celebrate it on astrological Imbolc, where it gets to the exact midpoint degree. Now, I always know spring is nearly here when the blood oranges reach my location in the shops here on the mid-east coast of Australia. They are a winter crop, but they don't tend to make it here until the last month of winter and the beginning of spring. And the beautiful thing about working with earth magic and the cycle of the seasons is that you get your own little preferences and associations with each new season as it comes. And that in itself, even if you aren't practicing witchcraft or astrology or any type of earth acknowledgement, even just accepting and being aware of those little associations of the seasons changes, that in itself is grounding you into the cycles and the seasons of the earth, which is really exciting. So Imbolc, it's the old pagan festival of light when the ice starts to thaw, the earth starts to stir. It has a strong new moon energy, I feel, in the sense that it's the time of the beginning of beginnings, when it is still dark and empty and barren from winter, but when the time has come to prepare for growth, when beneath the ground things are stirring. So it's the time to plant your seeds, to set your intentions, to consider the possibilities that are lying before you. And Imbolc represents the very awakening of the life force. Again, this is why it's got a strong connotation to Leo, which is about vitality. And it represents emergence. Imbolc represents emergence, but also about themes of discernment and boundaries as well, in the sense that spring isn't actually here yet, but there are still practicalities to consider as a time of planning and consideration, which is actually perfect now with Mercury retrograde in the Imbolc sign of Leo, by the way, which is a time of reviewing and reworking. And Imbolc, as the time period of working with any infinite number of possibilities, there is also still an earthy, pragmatic side to Imbolc, which I think makes it more exciting. So there's more anticipation in the preparing and planning and the build up to what is to come, rather than just running full steam ahead into whatever that is for you. So Imbolc actually translates to in the belly. It's also a time to acknowledge and honor the divine yin, divine feminine, usually the deity Bridget is honored either in the Northern Hemisphere and some people in the Southern Hemisphere as well. This is either in her aspect as maiden or saint or goddess. Simply honoring the receptive, sensitive, integrative parts of you can be all you need to do to work with the yin at this time. So honoring the vessel and the container that your body is for your soul, honoring the earth as the platform on which we live our lives, honoring the creative potential of your body and of the earth. So candles, fire, the color white, bulbs are sacred to Imbolc. You can do things to celebrate Imbolc, like lighting a candle to acknowledge the fire of the returning sun. You can literally plant seeds. You can physically dust the house, sweep or vacuum your space. You can do a wardrobe clear out, sending things to the op shop. You can work with deities like Bridget, like Artemis, the autonomous maiden goddess of the hunt, or like Vesta, goddess of the hearth. Apropos of that, this Imbolc is interesting because the 15 degrees of Leo, which marks the Imbolc degree in the Southern Hemisphere, is being activated by some goddessy goddesses at this time. So essentially the sun in Leo is in a T-square with Vesta, asteroid Vesta in Scorpio, and asteroid Pallas retrograde in Aquarius. So the sun is squaring Vesta and opposing Pallas. Now, Pallas is retrograde in Aquarius, and she is the creative brain, the diplomat. She is actually a war archetype, but she prefers to make battle with the mind, with the intellect, with problem solving and diplomacy. And in Aquarius here, there are patterns that need to be unpicked and threads pulled and adjusted in this retrograde process. So there could be some mental Aquarius patterns, Pallas, which need reworking, which need changing. This could be around how maybe you feel different, even excluded from the collective and the mainstream, in accepting and acknowledging your differences. So this could be around your notions of freedom, what it means to be free, and how restricted you might feel in your life and your mentality around that. So there's a reworking and a refiguring out here that the Imbolc sun is coming to shine its light on with that opposition. So there may be a new dawn with any ideas that you've been working on. There may be an enlightenment of any patterns or complexes that you've been trying to unravel. Something is coming to light here, and it has to do with your sense of self, because this is Leo, and a new way of thinking, because Pallas is in Aquarius, that is more aligned to your true self. So maybe this could be part of a literal figuring out who you are. I mean, things may not actually be comfortable with this illumination because it is an opposition, it's a difficult aspect. But the thing with Sunny Leo is that the heart will always win. And so this could be even a heart over mind situation, and learning to put yourself first, follow your heart, putting your heart first over the trappings of the mind there. With both the Imbolc sun and Pallas retrograde squaring asteroid Vesta in Scorpio, which, remember, I mentioned that Vesta is actually one of the Imbolc deities. This is powerful, and it's also very appropriate. So Scorpio is about power. Scorpio is also about, by the way, deep psychological complexes, which could be potentially what Pallas, working backwards through mental Aquarius, has had brought to light by the sun. So Vesta is keeper of the sacred fire, keeper of the hearth. She represents what is sacred, what is divine in the mundane. She also represents dedication. So here it's a reminder that whatever is being brought up at this time, it's important to remain in your power, to remember that this may be an overall empowerment process with Scorpio at the apex of this T-square, to remain dedicated, Vesta, to your personal sacredness, dedicated to your instincts. Now, the missing point in this fixed sign configuration is Taurus. So Taurus does not have any planets represented in it that is part of this configuration. So Taurus is the missing piece of the puzzle here. So the best thing you can do if you're feeling any tension or intensity on this day, even if you're not consciously feeling anything, this is still a very good thing to do. It's to ground. However you ground, whatever works for you. Ground. Take one thing at a time, slow down, Even pause, stop to smell the roses with pleasure-seeking Taurus. We've got so much air, so much fire going on in the astrology at the moment that sometimes we can get swept up or caught up in our minds and we forget to stop and pause and ground. Most of all, with Taurus, it's to remember your worth and do your best to work with your core values during whatever process you're going through. So all in all, we have a very goddess-oriented Imbolc with the divine yang of Leo shining brightly to merge with these sacred energies. So enjoy this time of renewal and cleansing. So that's it. Thank you for being here. Remember to join or subscribe to keep abreast of the astrological journey. Thank you again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.